to touch on a few NBA topics. I'm going to talk about Stephen A., what he said about Kawhi. I'm talking about Anthony Edwards need to get out of Minnesota. And I'm going to talk about Phoenix and the Denver series, right? I think it starts Saturday, right? I think Denver is number 1. So start off with Stephen A. Smith. He said Steve Ballmer needs to force Kawhi Leonard to retire. Y'all know Steve Ballmer from Detroit. I'm from Detroit. Got a few billionaires from Detroit. Byron Allen, the ones I know about, Steve Ballmer, and then the University of Michigan alum and, you know, controversial Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross. So Stephen A. said, well, Steve Ballmer needs to force Kawhi to retire. You hear rumors about Kawhi limping. You heard Jalen Rose say, you know, hope he ain't got to use a cane to end his career. I don't think they forced Grant Hill to retire. Grant Hill continued to collect checks. He eventually did start playing on the ankle in Phoenix a little bit in Orlando. I don't remember him really doing much in Orlando with Tracy McGrady. And he still hung around the league. I don't think he retired at all. So Kawhi, they paid Kawhi. If Kawhi retired, I'm not sure how much money he will get there. But he tore his meniscus again. And meniscus is usually not a serious injury, depending on the type of tear it is. But, you know, due to his legs and knees, so Stephen A. said they need to force him to retire, whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a grown-ass man. And you can't force him to do shit unless you offer him some money under the table. Y'all come to an agreement that he retires. It's as simple as that. Kawhi should be able to retire on his own thing. I don't like how Stephen A., when Aaron Rodgers do something or somebody that look like Aaron Rodgers do something, he give him a pass, or he not as animated about them. He invested into, Kawhi Leonard like he's a fucking Clipper fan. Like, Steve Ballmer money is your money. So I'm never going to be like, well, he motherfucker need to retire or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or he need to retire or whatever the situation may be. Like, bruh, you a grown-ass man. Steve Ballmer a grown-ass man. So he entitled to stay in the league until his contract run up. Nobody said nothing about Chandler Parsons, who was still into a $20, $30 million sitting at the end of teams' benches. Nobody saying shit about Gordon Hayward, who's stealing all this money, who have all these injuries and who can't play. At the end of the day, Kawhi should be able to stay as long as he wants to get his money. All right? So if he want to walk away from whatever money he got left on the table, cool, he can walk away. But what we not going to do is say, what he need. We not going to put pressure on the brother to leave money on the table and do something that he don't want to do. Let's not start that narrative. You can say, well, I'm tired. The Clipper fans tired. Like, all 5 of the Clipper fans tired. Who cares? It's not Laker Nation. It's not Celtics Nation. It's not even Indiana Pacers Nation. He's a grown man who can make his own decisions. And that's my opinion about it. And I don't like the fact that he went on national TV and did that. I ain't feel that. So, he always sit here, let's say I'm sick and tired of it. Like, what you tired of? Because, LA didn't make it a more competitive series versus Phoenix. Paul George wasn't there neither. He always injured too. Paul George always injured. So, I mean, I ain't really care for that part of it, bro. He always got base and energy and big energy for the brothers, but, the energy for the others always minimal or minimized. But nonetheless, man, that is what it is. But let's move on. Anthony Edwards need to get out of Minnesota. It ain't nothing personal against the Minnesota Timberwolves fans, but Karl-Anthony Towns, he don't deserve that type of talent at guard. And I told y'all the Rudy Gobert shit wasn't gonna work. Until Anthony Davis or Karl-Anthony Towns embrace the weight room, until they embrace they back to the basket, until they embrace being fives and operating like Patrick Ewing, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, David Robinson, guys like Tim Duncan, until they embrace playing that type of game and stop living on the perimeter and defend like they centers, it's never, Karl Anthony Towns won't win shit unless it's part of a super team. So until he embrace getting his ass in the weight room, embrace being on the block, every 80% of his offense should be on the block. 10% should be on the perimeter if need be, and the other 10% should be on the mid post, the elbow. So until he embraces doing that, man, it ain't gonna work, man. It ain't gonna work. Until he embraces, him and Anthony Davis embrace being centers. And that's what they are. It ain't gonna work. And Karl Anthony Edwards is too good of a talent to be wasted with Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. He eligible for a super max. He should ask for a deal. He should get up out of there. He should literally get the hell up out of there. That's the most respectable thing they can do for him, is get him the fuck up out of there. Get him somewhere where you got an opportunity to grow and really be a star and really win something. He too talented. His personality is too big to be stuck in Minnesota with Karl Anthony Towns. And I'm not saying for the city of Minnesota, just in that system. And I do think Minnesota might just want to blow it up and start it over. Karl Anthony Towns is not somebody you can build around. Anthony Edwards, yeah, it's a guy you can build around. So if you want to, trade everything around him and start building over around him, he young enough. I think that's something. But I me personally, I think if I'm Karl Anthony Edwards, I want to request a trade, and I want to get up out of there. Now, obviously you got some options out there. Boston may be looking to get rid of Jaylen Brown. I don't know if Jaylen Brown, he won his own team and go to Minnesota, and could he help Karl Anthony Towns? I mean, you can look around and say, well, Atlanta, him and Trae Young in the backcourt, they got a lot of just different pieces down there. You can ship DeJounte Murray over there and a couple other pieces, and maybe ready to hand the keys over to Okongwu or something like that. Dallas. I don't know if they got the pieces of Kyrie. I don't think he'd be willing to go up to Minnesota though. So they got some options. Let's say the Clippers and Kawhi say, what, Stephen A. Wright, I want to retire. Do you make something happen, out in LA? So it's a lot of different options for him. I'm a Piston fan. Maybe hey, maybe they can get a top 5 pick or whatever, or pick, and it's not a guy they really want. They fall in that second or third range, and they was really Victor or bust for them, and they like, okay, we can do a Cade or an Ivy and some picks, and we could do something there. But I really think, man, maybe the Knicks. The Knicks, they Julius Randle's name is hot. R.J. Barrett, maybe some draft capital. Him and Jalen Brunson could take over New York City. I think the Knicks is probably the best fit for him. I don't know how much they really want to tamper with that, with what they're doing right now. But, Emmanuel Quickly, I got a lot of these different options there. So, Obi Toppins, if me personally, either for Minnesota, it's time to build around Karl. It's time to build around Anthony Edwards, move on from Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, and start building around him. They have some missed draft picks up there. Or I think it's time to move him. If I'm him, either gonna build around me, or I'm moving and trade me somewhere, and obviously you want to get the money first, then ask for a trade. But maybe you look at somewhere like Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't think that's a great market for him to his personality like New York or LA would be. But they got pieces. They got pieces. And a lot of draft picks. So maybe you could swing Rudy Gobert over there. He over there. That's what they missing, a rim defender. Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert. And he always complained about, Rudy Gobert clogging up the lane. Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert. And maybe you give up Josh Giddey. Maybe you give up some picks and a couple other guys, Jalen Williams, and you go Anthony Edwards, Shea Gilgeous in the back. Or maybe you trade Shea Gilgeous. I know he hot right now. But you say, well, we take Josh Giddey, Anthony Edwards in the backcourt. We get Shaq back, you know what I'm saying? And trade some of them other guards over there, and Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards, and and fill out the rest of that team. So I ain't sure, man, but I think that's an option. But I want to talk about the Phoenix and Denver series. I think this would be the best series. Do I think Boston in trouble versus Atlanta? Yeah, they just a little bit of trouble. If they get back to a game 7 in Boston, you know, Trae Young is going to be very, very scary in that game. So I still think Boston advance. Milwaukee, they're in a lot of trouble, but I still think Milwaukee can advance, okay? Outside of that, I think this would be the best second round, the best series in the second round. I know people gonna like LA and Golden State and all that, you know, that type of game, LeBron name-wise, but this is gonna be the best series. Jamal Murray is 100% back. It looked like kind of tweaked his ankle a little bit yesterday. He was good. He's scoring at a higher clip. This is my favorite series. Jokic is one of my favorite players. I love Devin Booker. He from Michigan. You know, so this is one of my favorite series, man. I think Devin Booker and Jamal Murray kind of might have a situation in which Bernard King and Isaiah Thomas had when the Knicks and Pistons used to meet in the playoffs, or I think Isaiah had a scoring duel with Dominique Wilkins as well too. This can look like that. Maybe even Larry Bird, Dominique Wilkins in that game 7 in the playoffs. It can kind of look like that. A great scoring duo, back and forth for 7 games. I think it'll go 7. My only concern about Phoenix is cohesiveness. They lack depth, and I think this is a spot where Jokic is just gonna fucking shine. Jamal Murray is gonna shine. And then the question is, can I get something from Aaron Gordon? Can I get something from Michael Porter Jr.? I like Phoenix in this series. I really want to pick Phoenix in 6, but I'm gonna say it goes 7. And I got a feeling that Phoenix is too young, too durable. Jokic got an ideal matchup versus. And if Phoenix gonna win this series, it's gonna be on the strength of DeAndre Ayton. It's gonna be on the strength of DeAndre Ayton. He and them staying healthy. But I think, you know, I don't know what's going on with TJ Warren or Cameron Payne came back. But if Phoenix gonna win this series, they're gonna need some help from TJ Warren, Cameron Payne. They're gonna need more from Torrey Craig too than what they got last night. He only played 17 minutes. I don't know if he got injured or not, but I like Phoenix in 7. I really want to say Phoenix in 6, but I like Phoenix in Denver in 7. I think it's Denver year, man. I really do think it's Denver year to get out the West. I don't think it's a better opportunity. So I like Jokic matchup. You know, and Golden State had their number last year, but the thing about it, they ain't have Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is the most important player. It's all about guard and ball handlers in the playoffs right now. Jamal Murray is the most important player left for Denver, and if he on and he clicking, Jokic gonna do what he do. You know, and I think the X factor for Denver is not nobody outside of the guy, you know, nobody outside of Jokic. The X factor for Denver going forward is, can Jokic be more aggressive when he needs to be? If Jokic could be more aggressive defensively and offensively, Denver should be NBA champion. So I got Denver in 7. So like, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the NBA Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Again, hit the link tree. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Spotify, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Appreciate the love and support. Link tree, the first link in the description. Peace.